Guys, I will tell you about the words, sentence, and dictionaries. Words as meaningful building blocks of language. This consists is the 5 units. 1. Basic units of language. 2. Combined two-layer structure. 3. Foundation for information. 4. Charismatic and synthetic information. And 5. Morphological structure and components. As types and tokens. Type abstract word from concept. Token specific instance occurrence. Type token ratio in corpus analysis. Frequency distribution patterns. Statistical analysis application. Blocks of language. This section explains that words are the basic units in language that have meaning words. In this section, words are viewed as the building blocks of language explanation. Basic units of language meaning. Words are the smallest units that carry meaning in language. Without words, we cannot construct sentence, combine two from less structures. Number 2, words can be combined to from more complex phrases, clauses, or sentences. Carry semantic and synthetic information. Words carry semantic meaning and synthetic grammatical information. Foundation for communication. Words are the basic of communication because they are the medium for ideas. And the last, morphological structure and components. Words have a morphological structure, meaning they can be formed or changed to affixes, types, and tokens. In these sessions, words are viewed from the perspective of corpus linguistic of text analysis. Type. Abstract word from a concept type is the unique from a word or its abstract concept. Token. Specific instance occurrence token is each occurrence of a word in the text. Type-token ratio in corpus analysis, the ratio of types to token is used in corpus analysis to measure lexical richness. Frequency distribution patterns, analysis of how many times a word appears in a text. And the last, statistical analysis, words type token data and words distribution can be used in statistical analysis. Words with predictable meanings, non-words unpredictable meaning, and conclusion words versus lexical items. Some words have meanings that can be predictable based on their consistent parts, not just their letters. Example include onomatopoeic words such as bow wow that sounds but their meanings are still influenced by linguistic conversion. The relationship between from a meaning is not always consistent. An expression can consist of several words, but its meaning cannot be gathered from the meaning of each word. Example idioms. Keep tabs on means to monitor closely, not attack tabs. Proverb, a sentence whose meaning is not the same its literal meaning but comes from a metaphorical meaning. The difference between idioms and proverbs from phrases several words complete sentence meaning cannot be gathered from the consistent words based on metaphorical meaning. Conclusion. In English, there are many linguistic units larger than words such as phrases and sentences whose meaning cannot be predicted. Previously, it was said that words have two main characteristics whose meaning cannot be predicted, so they must be included in a dictionary, and words are building blocks for words and phrases. However, these two characteristics do not always go together. Morpheme: a word and its parts, roots, affixes, and their shapes. Taking words apart, words that do not need to be recorded in the dictionary. They are also words they may never be used, so they cannot be recorded. The basic for predictability of words meanings words can be understood because they are composite of small parts. Example uncleanliness. The smallest parts are called morphemes, which are the smallest units of morphology. Complex words and morphemes, words that are lexical items, are definitely complex. However, lexical items can also be complex. Morpheme characteristic. In order for the meaning of complex words to be predictable, morpheme smells meaningful unit. This is often said because it fits many words. Example helpfulness. Helpfulness. This is a characteristic of human language. It can be analyzed in two ways: meaningful units morphemes, words, phrases, and meaningful units sounds, syllables. Kinds of morpheme bound versus free. Free morpheme can stand alone as a word. Example help in, helpfulness, helpful. Bound morpheme cannot stand alone, only has meaning when combined with other morpheme. Example fullness. Complex word structure. Complex words usually have a core consisting of a pre-morpheme, cranberry morpheme, a type of bone morpheme that only appears in a specific word. Example, cran in, cranberry. Kinds of morpheme root affixes combining from. Root, the core part of a word that gives it its most concrete meaning. It can be a free root of a bound root. Affix, prefix before the root, and suffix after the root. All affixes bound morpheme. Combining from. Bound morpheme, originating from Latin, often used in scientific terms, not categories as regular affixes. Morpheme and their allomorph. Morpheme and allomorpheme. A single morpheme can have more than one pronunciation. The choice of allomorph usually depends on the context. The rule phonology versus morphology. Allomorphy is not solely a matter of phonology. For example, lie, lies. Use Z. Free versus bound allomorphemes. With is a free morpheme, but the allomorph wife only appears in the plural form. Identifying morphemes of meaning. There are two pronunciations. The meaning is consistent, more limits. The meaning is consistent and often unclear. Morpheme analysis if words such as revive or revise are considered monomorphemic, then we cannot recognize. However, there are clear morphology patterns. The rule of allomorphy. Example: reduce, conduce, deduce, induce. Semantic issue. Sometimes the meanings of words that are considered to be from the same morpheme family are not relaxed. Morphemes in this group can be identified by their form morphonology. and allomorphy patterns, even though their meanings are not always clear. Conclusion ways of classifying word parts. Classification of word parts morpheme and allomorphy is the smallest unit, and allomorphy is a variation of a morpheme. The rule of allomorphy, although at first glance whether a word of sound difference, allomorphy actually helps to identify morphemes. This is important for determining whether a word consists of more than one morpheme, even though the meaning of each morpheme is not always clear. Definition of a morpheme as a unit meaning should not be understood. There are many words that show a clear relationship between the form of the morpheme and its meaning. Characteristic of English vocabulary. English has two types of vocabulary: words with clear morphological and words with less relationship. Words and grammatical sense. Word forms and grammatical word inflection change in word forms shows variation in the form of the same word to indicate grammatical difference such as tense, number, person. Lexeme and word forms the basic form of a word that carries the core meaning. For example, perform is a lexeme grammatical word. A grammatical word as a word form used according to the grammatical. Regular and irregular inflection. Words forms that follow a general pattern, a regular pattern. Example plural, cats. The relationship between regular and irregular forms. Regular forms often arise to the history of the language. Regulation is cooking among young speaks. Plural only nouns. Some words only appearing the plural form even though they have a singular meaning. Plural inflection is grammatical. The difference between singular and plural is grammatical inflection, not just meaning. English force speakers to choose between singular and plural forms. Example, I saw a cat, one cat. I saw some cats, more than one cat. Of pronouns determiners. Focus on morphology. Morphology primarily discusses the behavior of words in open clauses such as nouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs. Closed clauses. Pronouns and prepositions are clauses. Clauses is not easy to add a new member. Example, I, she, as, in, at, without. Determinants some show a difference between singular and plural forms. For example, this, that, that, those. Forms if verb in English. A verb has a maximum of 5 forms. For example, gives present tense, gave past tense, giving progressive participle, given perfect of basic form, give passive form. Perfect and passive participle have the same form in English. Example, given is used in both perfect and passive sentence. Forms of adjective. Adjective have three main forms: positive base form, green, comparative form, greener, superlative form, greenest. Conclusion and summary. General conclusion: inflection plays a minor role in modern English, but it means important the difference in the number of intellectual forms between language are interesting to study. So that's it. Thank you.